guys, it's Jessica for Kindred Stamps. I hope you all are having a great day. Today I'm going to show you how I go about making a one-layered card with Copic markers. So I started off stamping my two characters using some Copic friendly black ink. There's a variety out there, so use what you like. And I also use my stamp platform to get some really nice solid black lines. This stamp set does come with 4 characters, but I wanted to create a simplistic library scene, so I thought that these 2 characters would be the best for that background. So I'm starting off with my E31 marker, and I'm going to create a bookcase. And I'm freehanding this, so the lines are not perfect whatsoever. But I just did a basic rectangle outline, and I added in 5 shelves. The 2 lower ones will be mostly covered by the characters. To outline that lighter color, I go in with an E35 marker, and for this I'm using my chisel tip of the Copic marker. I have the sketch, so it has the brush end and the chisel tip. So after that, I go back through with an E59 marker, which is a much more dark brown color. And for this one, I'm using the brush tip, so use whatever is comfortable. To add in some texture to this bookcase and create a little bit more interest, I wanted to make it look like a wood grain. So to do that, I'm using an E74, which is a gray-brown color, and I'm just adding these little squiggly marks and then kind of creating some shapes with them for like knots in the wood. And I'm going to do that on both sides and on that lower portion. The shelves, I don't really worry about it too much because they're so thin that you wouldn't see a whole lot of that anyways. And then I'm going to go back to the E35 marker and color over the entirety of the outline. That way that E74 marker kind of blends in with that more of that warm color brown. So I'm going to add a little bit of a separation between the walls and the floor, and this is going to add a bit of depth to this card. So I already drew one diagonal line, and then I'm going to line up this cardstock with my grid mat so I can add in the second one. That way they're almost the same angle. It's not perfect, like I said. This is just something to showcase your stamp images for a kind of a fun way just to create a little scene. So I already went through with a micron pen and I added in all of these different books. I added thick ones and thin ones, taller ones, short ones. Some are piled 3 high, some are more angled, so just a lot of different variety in the background. And then I'm going to color these in. So starting with the bottom row of books, I used a W3 and a W1. And then for that more green-blue color, I used a BG18 and a BG75. And for the blue, B34 and B93. I will have these all listed below and on my blog. That way you have them available if you find a color combination that you like. So I also went through with a W6 marker, which is just a darker warm gray, and I added labels because library books usually have like some kind of label on them so that you know it's from that library. So they don't have to be perfect, but I did make sure to add in a label at the same height wherever the books are the same size. That one group of books on the very bottom are all the same size. They all have a label going across the same way, so it just kind of adds more interest to a very simple background. So now I'm going to go in and start coloring the characters. For her skin, I used E51 and E81, and then I did E51 and E31 on the male character. And this just makes it a slightly different variation of skin. She's a little bit more pinky tone. He's just slightly lighter. There isn't a whole lot of variation, but there is a slight difference. So I go ahead and add some skin color to his glasses, the inside of the frames where his lenses are. And actually at the end of this, I did use some glossy accents on his glasses to make them kind of shiny. And the glossy accents must have had some kind of blue ink on it because I turned one lens a light blue. And though that doesn't really matter, I couldn't stand it, so I had restamped him and then cut out the lenses and glued a new pair over the top so that they are not blue. So for his clothes, I used a lot of just E markers and then added a touch of blue and a bit of orange to his total outfit to give this scene a little more color than what it had. So for her hair, I just went in with a YR2, E07, E31, and E35 to give it a brownish reddish color. Really keeping the darker red colors to the shadows of her hair as much as possible. And then for his hair, I'm going to use an E77, E74, and E17 to make it a more of a grayish brown, dark brown color. I knew I wanted her outfit to have some pink, so I just colored her entire top in an R81 and R85, and then added some blue and yellow elements to kind of help tie her in with the guy character a little bit more. So this bottom portion I'm drawing in, I'm trying to get back a more straight line. It kind of got a little wonky. And then I'm going to go back through with a micron pen. The pen size that I'm using is a 01. And I'm just going to try to straighten out a few of my lines and correct a few issues where the micron pen had faded once I had colored over it with a Copic marker. And some people do find that micron pens bleed with Copics, but I'm doing such light coloring, so not a whole lot of saturation, especially with the books because they're such a small area, that I didn't really have an issue with that. So for the floor, I'm just going to use a C3 marker first, which is a cool gray, and then I blend that out with a W3, a W1, and a W0. I really like adding a little bit of cool gray to some warm grays. I just think it gives it a little bit more depth than just what a warm gray or neutral or cool gray could. For the sentiment, I'm using 2 out of the ones from the stamp set. The top one I just stamped in some black ink and it says I'll always be your, and then the second one says sidekick, so it says I'll always be your sidekick. And for the sidekick, I did use some Peacock feathers Distress Oxide ink to give it some coordinating colors to go with some of those book colors that I had used in the background. You can kind of see here where one of his lenses look a little blue, but in the pictures you'll see that I did fix that. So this is technically almost a 1-layer card. I have a link below for you if you'd like to check that out. It'll take you right to the Kindred Stamps website and to the product page for the Slay stamp set, where you'll see a lot of other inspiration. So I hope you enjoyed this easy, almost 1-layer card. Thank you so much, guys, and that's it from me. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next one. Meh, meh.